Alright, this is the third video in my turtle shell making series, and today we're making the plastron. That's the front part. Grab the pattern, print it at actual size, and cut out the pieces. Trace the pattern onto your foam mat, marking the alignment points. One little difference here from the shell pattern is that when you extend those lines into the piece, make sure to make them kind of long, because you're going to be sanding away a lot of that edge. Don't forget a little flippity flip to do the mirrored version, and then it's all up to you and your sharp knife cutting nice vertical lines. That's already looking like a plastron. Edge sanding, that is no fun, but definitely makes it look nicer. Once those edges are annoyingly sanded, smooth them out with your heat gun. And while the foam is still hot, do some forming. Some knee forming. Put it all together like a very simple puzzle, get out your glue, and start gluing the pieces together in sets of 2. I'm using contact cement here for speed, but you could also use hot glue for not as toxicness. When I use contact cement, I like to give it 2 coats, letting it dry between coats. Then just before putting the pieces together, I give it a quick shot with my heat gun to reactivate the glue. You might find it's easier to line up the pieces if you go from the back. That way you have a nice hard edge for reference. Once your sets of 2 are glued together, you can glue them all together to finish your plastron. You'll notice a little diamond-shaped hole in the middle of the chest, which you can fill in by gluing on a piece of 2mm craft foam from behind. Next we need some straps to hold it on, so go find a backpack at your local back door or thrift store. You need a backpack small enough to fit inside the turtle shell. We're going to glue it in there with some hot glue, but before that happens, there's a couple things I want to do to it first. Like gluing the bottom together so it doesn't stick out too far from your back, and cutting off any pockets or webbing that'll get in the way when we start gluing. Now you can start gluing all over the back of the pack. Just make sure to watch out for purple tassels. They tend to get in the way. Snip, snip. Now place the backpack inside the shell. Make sure to give some extra room at the top because it will hang down a little bit. You can see some extra glue remnants above the pack because the first time I tried, I had it a bit too high. 10 bonus points if you can glue it in and still be able to zip and unzip the backpack. Now it's time to try it on, make sure it's comfortable and fits well. Apparently this is not my size of shell, so I should probably try it on the person who is actually going to wear it. And that person thought it was super comfortable. With the shell happily attached to the pack, it's time to add the plastron. I'm going to use Velcro, because Velcro is great. For longevity, I would advise sewing the Velcro on, but in this case, I'm just going to glue it. And yes, I did just sand the Velcro to hopefully help the glue stick better. I also sanded the back of the plastron, where the other half of the Velcro is going to end up. Glue a strip to each side of the plastron, starting just a little bit down from the top corner. And of course, before you actually put the Velcro strips on the backpack straps, make sure you've measured on the person who's going to wear it to make sure they're going to be in the right place. If your backpack doesn't look very turtleish, you can always paint it to make it look more turtleish. Once again, I'm using Plat FX paints because they're more flexible than standard acrylics. You'll probably have to do 2 coats, but you don't want to do too much or things will start to get a bit too stiff. And while you're painting, you might as well paint the back side of the shell as well. For the plastron, I used Plat FX Amber Sand as the base coat. I then mixed a little orbital orange in with the amber sand and used that along with a dry brush to just add a little extra depth along the lines. If the plastron all of a sudden looks bigger, that's because it is. The one shown here is actually the size large. It's the one my wife is wearing at the beginning. And right here. Because that's it. We're done. Alright, so that's plastrons. This backpack's kind of heavy because there's still stuff in it. Plastron. I love that word. Who knew it was the name of the front of a turtle shell? Not me. Actually, making the plastron is very straightforward. I chose to make it out of separate pieces rather than just cutting a slot and heating it up with the glue gun to widen it because I like the nice smooth corners that you can get, and it just gives a nice definition. So, you know, you could also just lay the pattern pieces out and just cut one piece out and do it that way. That'd be fine, that'd be quicker. I just like to do things the hard way, I guess. And these patterns I have from size extra small to extra large, and each of those sizes I have a narrower version and a wider version because I know we're all different sizes, and so that way you can get closer to what size fits you. I do have all the measurements in the pattern, so you can just measure yourself, find the size that's closest to what you think, and away you go. And the size is really going to be up to personal preference because theoretically this angle should be sort of where your leg bends, but if you do that, then you're never going to be able to sit down properly in the costume. So you've got to decide, do you want to bring that up a bit or do you want it down and just never sit down? So that's why I'm just giving you the dimensions. You can figure out which works best for you. The thing that was the tricky part was figuring out the straps for this. So I tried a few different things with webbing and glue and Velcro, and I just couldn't get anything that felt right. But then I tried just sticking a backpack in there, and actually it worked amazingly well. The great thing is that the backpack kind of fills out that hollow of the shell. So then instead of trying to attach a piece of webbing from you and then through a gap into the shell, you have the backpack there. So it's actually super comfortable, super quick on and off. It works super, super well for the kid size, for my daughter, especially because the straps come down fairly far. So you have lots of room for Velcro on the wider part of the backpack strap before you get to the thinner webbing part. Not quite as good on the larger sizes because, as I found, a lot of backpacks, the wider strap doesn't go down that far. And so really you want to put that Velcro on the wider strap, but then you're coming to where the narrower strap is and the adjuster for the narrow strap. And really you want the Velcro to go over that, but then if it goes over that, then you can't adjust the strap anymore. So the backpack I used had the adjusters at the bottom, so that cleared up that strap for putting the Velcro on. But even so, you don't get as much percentage of the Plastron with the Velcro on the side that works. So you get down to say this far. Of course, if you're finding that the Plastron is too loose on you, what also works is if you have a backpack with a waist strap, because then you can put that around your waist, put a piece of Velcro on the front of the waist strap, and then on the bottom here of your Plastron, and then stick that there, and then it's all good. Also, if you have the time, it's probably better to sew the Velcro onto those straps than just to hot glue it, because hot glue doesn't seem to attach super great to Velcro. It's good enough for like a day or two, but if you're going to use it a lot, then you're going to want it to be bonded a little bit better. The other thing is the straps. The thickness of these straps are quite thick, like puffy thick, and that kind of takes away from the look because then you see these big straps over the top. So if you can find thinner straps, that's good. I just had to use backpacks that I found in my house, so I didn't have a lot of options. If you have a bit more time than I did, you can probably find something a bit better. But really, all in all, I'm really happy with how this sits on your body and that it's really comfortable. And you can rip off the front Plastron thing if you want, if you get tired of that really easily. There's no mechanisms to have to deal with. I didn't mention on the video, but actually the darkening in the center, I did a little differently on these two different Plastrons. This one I did with an orangey color, and this one I did with more of a brownie color. Just a little different feel, but you may have noticed that in the video, so I just thought I'd mention that. Of course, the patterns are available on the website. I will add the Plastron to the turtle shell pattern with a free update for anyone who's bought it. And of course, don't forget, Ultimate Everything Super Value Bundle. It's a lot of value in a bundle. It's every pattern for foam that I've ever made in the past and any in the future. Worth a look. And I think I'm done. And now I'm going to go to bed. Thanks for watching. See ya. Turtle, Plastron.